experienced tremendous progress. In part, it's sometimes because of the weekly practices we have been doing, not just in Kmspksm, but in various centers. Yeah. But even more importantly is that when we go overseas, usually it takes a few hours. And in that few hours, you cannot engage in your usual day-to-day activity. So you are already distancing. Before you even reach the retreat center, yeah, you take a bus to Penang, you take a bus to Kukup or whichever place for a retreat. Yeah. The bus journey, what can you do? Rest. Yeah. By the time you reach there, your mind is really quite free from all the daily doldrums, Or you fly to Dharamsala for a retreat or come back, wow, so much blessing and power. Yes, the whole atmosphere, the teachings, but even more importantly is the build-up. It's the build-up. Yeah. So if you're going for a retreat in Singapore, it's the same, Yeah. If you can afford that time, then you can also do the retreat in Singapore. The trouble is, in Singapore, 3G is cheap. So when during breaks, go toilet, quickly check that trash. Yeah. So that's why if you join some of the retreats I usually confiscate the handphone. 不要 join 先不要 join. Yeah. Then you're wasting your time in the retreat. Yeah. So if you can do that, then the mind becomes quite withdrawn, then higher chance for it to quieten. It's basically giving the mind some time and then apply a bit of effort. The problem is that we don't want to put in that time, so we think that we can make up with effort. Apply too much effort, then then you experience tightness in the head, headache, and some things cannot be rushed. Some things just cannot be rushed. In today's society, we are so caught up with efficiency, productivity. Spiritual progress, you cannot simply, like, don't want to put in the time and then just go for intensive and expect it to just pop. If the mind has been accumulating all the momentum of discrimination, of labeling, of this and that, then suddenly you want it to grind to a halt. Maybe a bit tight for most people anyway. So if you can do that, then first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, through the cultivation. Then at some point, quite withdrawn from the senses, and then even in a way relinquishing pain and pleasure, sorrow and joy. Yeah? You relinquish even all this. Yeah? Then the mind becomes in this stable state. Yeah? But not just this form, but also distant from drowsiness, distant from all the opposites, drowsiness and restlessness, they are opposites. Then distant from greed, sensual desire, and also hatred, ill will. The Buddha described this process with the metaphor of a blacksmith. Have I mentioned it in this class? The blacksmith, yes. Did I show you the picture? No. I think I showed it in SGC. Yeah. Last year when we were in India, were we in India last year? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So, you were there, right? Were you there? No, the one right? Were you there?
Yeah.
Were you with us when we went to the walking? And I took a picture right now. So was it after the retreat? The last day, right? So they went to not DLRB, we went to the Tibetan, what market? Refugee market. Yeah, the refugee market. Went early in the morning, then we went to walk there. Then we saw this tea place. Then after that, walk, went to the place, walk one round, nothing much, all the fur stuff, then come out, then walk. Then I saw this person by the roadside. And he was with one leg, or something. I think, was it the fan? Was it using fan? No, it's the manual one, right? So you're using the leg. And then,
not the leg,
the hand. So, in Singapore, you cannot find that. But that is exactly what is described in the sutra. You can still see it in YouTube. Just search blacksmith. Yeah? So, there's a furnace, and then it's blowing it with like a bellow, right? Bellow. So as you press, then it blows air into the furnace. Then the burning becomes much stronger. Then there's a piece of metal. Then you burn to a certain temperature. When it's hot enough, then yeah. If it's too soft, then too soft meaning it's too hot, then it becomes too soft. Then put into water to cool it down a bit, then so the Buddha used this as a description. Why? Because in the Buddha's time, people can see this day to day. Yeah. So he used this to describe the metal when it's too hard, okay, too cold, then manage the bellow, increase temperature, heat it up. Okay? Yeah. Then when it's too hot, spray some water to cool it down. And when it's at the right temperature, then the metal is malleable. When it's malleable, the blacksmith can shape it into all kinds of tools and ornaments and things like that. Yeah. Now the description is a metaphor for our mind, yeah, for a meditator. Yeah. When the mind is very dull, meaning when the mind, let's say, overcome by drowsiness, yeah, then what must you do? You must liven it. Yeah? You must lift it up, yeah? Through different practices like reflection of the Dharma and so on. You must liven it. Then if it's too agitated, yeah, the parallel is the matter is too hot. Then what must you do? You must cool it down. Yeah? In this case, using the samatha practices to quieten it. Yeah? Basically, you can do mindfulness of the breath, then it quietens it. Yeah. So if you notice, in most, this is taught by the Buddha, not by me. Don't think, well, simple way to come up with this. All the centers I practice always just say mindfulness of breath. What mindfulness? Yeah. The trouble is, because most of us, our mind is too unsettled. So that's why the technique is always observe the breath, quieten it. But you must know that in Buddhist meditation, it's a very active process. Just like the blacksmith, it's not just keep on adding water, and then just no, you know. It's a very active process. You add some water, then you observe. Is it too cold already? Too cold enough? Or the temperature, is it right? If it's right, then you don't add anymore. Yeah? Or maybe you add too much, then you must increase the temperature. So it's a very active process. Yeah? If you ever meditate, sometimes you meditate and then you find that, hey, wow, today's sitting is so good. Wow, you know, wow, so good. You know, after half an hour tiang, or after 1 hour tiang, the teacher after 1 hour tiang, hey, we went past so quickly. Wow, I'm so comfortable. And maybe you have gone in between the drowsy and the non-drowsy state, somewhere in between. So, pass very fast, no? It's quite good, no? Not so bad that you fall asleep, but not alert. So don't be so happy, you know? Because rightfully, when you are in a meditation state,
very rested, that's what.
Yeah, you feel very rested, but it's not meditation. So don't be so happy. But not bad, I say not bad, because at least you get some rest, you know? Yeah. So, check on your own practice. If you are doing meditation regularly, it shouldn't be, enter a zone, then suddenly, wow, half an hour just passed like that. then you're not meditating. There should be awareness throughout the whole process. Yeah, there should be awareness throughout the whole process. Not a blank.
So just now you mentioned about relinquishing pleasure and pain.
Okay, then hold that thought first. Let me finish this. So if a person managed to reach this stage, yeah, so through this very active process, you try your own meditation. If your meditation is just try to get into the state, then you are doing it wrong. If you are learning under the various teachers, go and consult your teacher. Because it's supposed to be an active state of reaching this point of balance. And this point of balance where, okay, not too cold, not too hot, just nice. Okay? This is the equanimity as described. Equanimity is not just an informed jhana really. At the earlier stage there's equanimity, but it's just not to fruition yet. So you have to still handle with it a bit, handle with it a bit. Yeah. So if you practice and you find that, hey, come on, I think meditating something wanting to fall asleep on is that the balance is not there. What is your question?
The question is that achievement of that is through Vipassana, right? Or Samadhi can do that relinquishing of pain?
Well, for jhana, you don't need Vipassana to reach jhana. Jhana is solely through samatha. Samadhi is the result of samatha. Jhana is the result of samatha. Samatha is the practice itself.
But after the sensations, the senses comes down, then there's no more pain and pleasure.
Okay. But I mentioned about all the other mental factors also. So, even if there's no distinct pain or pleasure, then how about the mental states? Any other questions pertaining to the text? Okay, let's continue. So, 远离钓举等障. So not just about 钓举. Okay. One would say the first four of the five hindrances. Are you all familiar with the five hindrances? Who is familiar? Raise your hand. You're very cute. Who is not familiar? Nobody raise a hand. Who is familiar? それからわかりますか？了解ですか？了解ですか？ So, five hindrances, right? I still go as you see the five hindrances. So, that's 1 week. Oh, actually 2 weeks. 5 hindrances. Very quickly, I'm just listing it out. Okay, we're not going through them in detail. So the first one.
Partly with Narayana.
Yeah. Wow, you good, huh? Not bad, not bad. Okay, I'm going to write down 2 sets for number 3. So, number 3, there is drowsiness and sleepiness, and also sloth and torpor. So, this sloth and torpor is found in the Visuddhimagga, is found in the Nikaya. Drowsiness and sleepiness is my translation from the Chinese text. And this is the interesting part. Oftentimes when you look at the Buddhist terms, the same, if you check the Pali Sanskrit term, they are exactly the same. Yeah? But somehow the translators from the different traditions, they translate into quite different words. Right? If you look at many of the different translations, right, you'll find that they are talking about the same thing. Yeah? Except that one talk about the function, the other one maybe talk about the thing itself. Yeah? So drowsiness has the quality of being slothful. Yeah? If you are drowsy, you will feel slothful. Yeah? Then if you are sleepy, then you will feel torpor. Yeah? So I find it very interesting. If you look at not just these two terms, but various other terms, yeah, the different lineage, one would focus or translate the state itself, the other one the function of this state. Yeah. What happens when you have this, you are in this state? So I do find that if you are able to grasp both English and Mandarin, then the whole new world open up. You can look at many texts that have been translated by the two different traditions and look at them, and you find that together it gives a very much more comprehensive look at what the Buddha actually taught. So the fourth one, restlessness and worry. So, yeah, so or sometimes worry and restlessness. So if you say worry and restlessness, so the Chinese term is 误作. That means the things that you have done and then you reflect over it. Yeah. The term that is usually used is worry. Yeah, to worry about things that you have done. Yeah. Then restlessness, because of that, then your mind becomes restless. Become restless. Okay. The fifth is doubt. No? The fifth is doubt. Yeah. For equanimity, the focus is more about the first four. More about the first four. They come in a way like a pen. So here, have you all finished copying the 5? Yes. So the picture, finish. Okay. So if you look at this, 远离钓举等障. So 钓举等. So not just about worry and restlessness, but all the related ones, all the hindrances. So the 5 hindrances is the metaphor given by the Buddha about how if you plant seeds, when you cultivate, it's like planting seeds. But after planting seeds, you take a stone and cover it, and the seeds grow. Cannot grow. You remove the cover, the stone, and the seeds continue growing. Yeah. So through these 4, no passion, don't make funny noise. So, being able to be free from the hindrances, then what happens? Then you can attain the jhana and so on and so forth. Then, 寂静安住, then the mind becomes quiet, and abide in this quietude. Okay? 因而得名为舍. So in this way, then it get the name of equanimity. Yeah. Of course, here, when the moment you say equanimity, it is not just some random concentration. It's quite developed. Okay? As I mentioned earlier. It is not simply just, you meditate for a while, you feel quite okay, then it's equanimity. Yeah. You have to really reach the various jhana. Yeah. You are able to relinquish pain, pleasure, sorrow, and joy. Yeah. So you are free from all these disturbances. But how do you relinquish all this? By overcoming the hindrances. Overcoming the hindrances. Then the mind abides in this quietude. 说平等正直无功用处，是曰初中后三类来辨别者的差别相。So 平等正直无功用处。So the different stages of this equanimity. The different stages of this equanimity. So 平等 from moment to moment, in my lineage, my teacher often highlight the平等 from moment to moment to be able to maintain it, to be able to maintain the stability of the mind. If you find that when you are doing sitting, then your mind one moment up, one moment down, that is also not 平等, not stable, not stable. 正直, not going here, not going there. So the whole essence of equanimity is that it doesn't move around. It doesn't go up, go down, go left, go right, think about the past, future, go all over the place. No. And it just stay fairly constant. Fairly constant. And ultimately, 无功用处, effortless. Effortless. So this is quite apparently not in the early stages of our meditation. Initially, we need effort, of course. Yeah. And initially, even when we put in effort, the mind is still all over the place. Yeah. But gradually, we put in effort, the mind can quieten. At the later stages, without putting in effort, you start off with the practice, then once the mind is centered there, you leave it there, it stays there. Doesn't even bother about. Then restlessness, because of that, then the mind becomes restless. Okay. The fifth is doubt. Yeah. For equanimity, the focus is more about the first form. They come in a way like a pen. So here, I'm going to finish completing the 5 minutes. So we try to finish. Okay. So if you look at this, 远离调举的障。So 调举等 so not just about worry and restlessness, but all the hindrances. So the 5 hindrances is the metaphor given by the Buddha about how if you plant seeds, when you cultivate, it's like planting seeds. After planting seeds, you take a stone and cover it, and the seeds grow. Cannot grow. You remove the cover, the stone, and the seeds continue growing. Yeah. So through this 4 So, being able to be free from the hindrances, then you can attain the jhana and so on and so forth. Then, 寂静安住, then the mind becomes quiet and abide in this 得名为神。So in this way, then it get the name of equanimity. Of course, here, when the moment you say equanimity, it is not just some random concentration. It's quite developed. Okay? As I mentioned earlier, it is not simply just you meditate for a while, you feel quite okay, that is equanimity. You have really reached the purest jhana. You are able to relinquish pain, pleasure, sorrow, and joy. So we are free from all these disturbances. How do you relinquish all this? By overcoming the hindrances. Then the mind abides in this quality. 说平等正直无功用处，是曰初中后三类来辨别神的差别相。说平等正直无功用处。So the different stages of this equanimity. The different stages of this equanimity. So平等from moment to moment, in my lineage, my teacher often highlight the平等 from moment to moment to be able to maintain it, and to be able to maintain the stability of the mind. If you find that when you're doing sitting, the mind one moment up, one moment down, that is also not平等, not stable. Not going here, not going there. So the whole essence of equanimity is that it doesn't move around. It doesn't go up, go down, go left, go right, think about the past, future, go all over the place. It's just stay fairly constant. And ultimately, 无功用处, effortless. So this is quite apparently not in the early stages of our meditation. Initially, we need effort, of course. Yeah. And initially, even when you put the effort, the mind is still all over the place. Yeah. But gradually, you put in effort, the mind can quieten. At the later stages, without putting in effort, you start out with the practice that once the mind is centered there, living there, it stays there. It doesn't even wonder about effortless. Okay? So here, the further text, the reading text describe all these different stages. 在初位时的 at this initial stage, 六舍与心相应，远离调取等高下的不平稳性。So, when the mind is this word 相应, sometimes I introduce it as resonate. I use the word resonate. In some texts, we use the word connected, or coupled. So, what does this mean? It means that when we say that the mind and equanimity相应, that means the mind is in line, aligned to this state. Aligned to this state. So when it's aligned to this state, then 它的远离调取高下的不平稳性。So when the mind is affected by worry and restlessness and all the hindrances that they try, then the mind pattern go up and down, agitated and unstable. The tendency to be unstable is free from it. 其次有远离的家庭。So beyond this, when the mind is free from these disturbances, 远离分别主义的偏取向，心的平等人，自然相续，偏其的正直处。So, as I mentioned, from the second jhana, is there equanimity? To some extent, yes. But it's only at the fourth jhana that it becomes, brings to fruition and perfection. So, earlier part, the practice of being free from all the disturbances. And here, 其次有远离的家庭，什么家庭？We translate it to heightened practice. 家庭。So initially he does practice, but then after the initial stage, then however you do it more intensively, more repeatedly. So, if you were to meditate once a week, is it heightened practice? No. So, if you want, from this text, even though this doesn't say that, this is a meditation method, but from previous times, you can learn how to teach your own practice. If you just meditate once a week, can it be considered heightened practice? No. So then when we look at other people's practice, when you hear other people's practice and then impressed, I know some of you personally who have been upgrading your practice. The good news is, now I understand why my late ordination teacher sometimes during class will share with us good news, saying that some students have reported their practice, to him their practice. And now I understand how my teacher feels that way. Because some of you all share with me, now sometimes it's not sharing their own practice, sometimes it's sharing their mother's practice. My mother is now meditating every day, minimum 1 hour or 2 hours, sometimes sit non-stop until the mother gets worried. So, when the person put in that much effort, then quite naturally you get the corresponding results. If you don't put in heightened practice, then you cannot expect heightened results. So, what is the result? 远离分别主义 the discriminating mind, the 偏取向 the tendency to discriminate and have a lot of thinking. If you can do that, then you are free of this. If you have heightened practice, you are free of this kind of discriminating mind. 心得平等人 the kind of stability from non-discrimination. More correctly, attachment to our discrimination. Attachment to our discrimination. So, over here, we talk about 分别, right? 分别主义. In all the traditions, there's a tendency that the moment you go into meditative practices, then the tendency is, not supposed to discriminate. Yeah? So during meditation, don't discriminate. Outside of meditation, also don't discriminate. Then, if the person happen to be, let's say the person, and then happen to be, let's say, in charge of the society, then people come and file a complaint, or let's say give a feedback. Then quite naturally, because you have been practicing the non-discrimination, right? Then when people feedback to you, it can come to quote non-discrimination. And to that person who is practicing this, they are really okay with it. But then this can become a problem. This can become a problem because then to others, the person appears to be like ignoring, oblivious of what is happening. So this is one pitfall that sometimes we have. When we practice and we think that, being a Buddhist, we must like about what is happening outside the world. Not discrimination. Good and bad, aircon cool or not cool, broken, not discrimination. In my lineage, we always ask the question, do you think that Buddha cannot discriminate? Do you think that the Arahants cannot discriminate? Very interesting because my teacher is from the Mahayana lineage, but he always talk about Arahants. And he said that, okay, that's not it. And the Arahants, you think the Arahants cannot discriminate? Cannot tell the difference between good and bad? Right and wrong, cannot tell. Of course they can tell. They can tell you clearer than us. But it says that they're not attached so strongly. Not attached to, especially the subtle, transient differences. Not that you cannot tell the difference. You can tell the difference. But you can tell which is transient and which is of essence, which is not essence. For us, everything is important.
Yeah.
But I don't say that we are Buddhists. Sometimes we are quite
Yeah.
when we are sick. When we are sick, then we know what is important, what is not important. We realize that when we are not feeling well, how to say, some people when they are sick will still have a lot of energy. But for most people, when they are not feeling well, then there's a lot of wisdom. Yeah. When people follow with you, when you are sick, however, you choose your fights. Like, but when you're well, this one cannot, I insist, must like this, must like that. So when you're well, we should sometimes do this exercise. Behave like a sick person. When someone tells you something nasty, you ask yourself, if I'm sick, do I have the energy to reply? No energy to reply. But it's something nasty. So here is not that you are sick. But here is through the practice of being free from all those disturbances. How is this possible? Through equanimity. Through equanimity. In some ways, there's some level of wisdom. It's different from the equanimity of that of an Arahant. Arahant's equanimity is different from the equanimity of someone in form jhana. It's still different. Right? So the mind is free from all the this like that. Then 自然相续，不偏不倚的正直住。So it doesn't get topsy-turvy by all the different things that whatever comes. 由心的正直 because through this of having the mind maintaining in this state. 进而得善心相续. So here, referring to this state as being a wholesome state. That this wholesome state of the mind, being tranquil, calm, and stable, can persist. 与诸杂染 So the 与诸杂染无缺觉思觉虑无发动性的任运而转。So with respect to all this 杂染法 translated as varied things, basically all the different kinds of can be said in others, the things that cause the mind to become impure and so on. What kind of
this kind of unwholesome states or taste, the kind of discussive thoughts or all those someone 无发动性的任欲而转，心得无共有主。So, the mind is able to become calm and sublime and stable without much effort. This is the final part. Being able to do that without 心得无共有主。Initially, we practice, put in effort, still cannot become. Later, put in effort, can become. Ultimately, is able to be free. So if you think about it, whenever we try to meditate, we have to put in effort. But then all the thoughts keep coming up. There was once, I think I mentioned in the meditation class, there's a reason why these thoughts come up. If you don't resolve the cause of these thoughts, you have to keep on applying effort. It's finished. Last one. This is the new measure. So, when we practice our meditation, if we only try to remove the discursive thoughts, remove drowsiness, remove as they arise, you'll find that maybe it becomes lesser, but it may still arise. Here, it is that through distancing, through equanimity, then the cause itself, when you overcome the differences, is the cause of all this restlessness, the agitation. You remove the cause directly. When earlier I mentioned about restraint or the other one. If you restrain yourself, then there's no cause for all the disturbances. And that is the reason why then the mind can calm by itself. If there's still a cause for disturbances, surely the mind will become disturbed again. The reason for effortless abiding, it is that you gradually don't resonate, your mind don't connect with all those things, at least for that period of time. Okay? We don't say that you must disconnect for your whole life, then the mind will come. But at least for a certain duration of time, the mind must be disconnected with worldly affairs. And that is why in the text it is described the way of life, the way of life of a lay person is not so conducive. We don't say that it's impossible, but usually not so conducive. Why? Because you need to work. Just work alone, Why? No more time. And you spend your almost 2/3 of your waking hours. And for many people, the whole daylight time. Isn't it? It's horrible, the modern society. For whole daylight time. Precious. That's actually the most precious part of our human life. Can you imagine? Sometimes I sit back and our precious human life, what are we doing to ourselves? From the time we wake up until the time we sleep, there's the night time and the daytime. We take out the whole daytime for work. We do this to ourselves. And then we do this to yourself for 30, 40 years. Yeah. But you get at the end of the day, it's just to survive. Yeah. Actually go for a trip, and just for a roof over the head. Then in the end, get the PG card, then everything's happy. And then if you really want to try about what are the things you must do to have a human rebirth, calculate so hard to have a human rebirth, then just look at this. Then just look at this. Don't have to be depressed, okay? You should consider. It doesn't mean that all of you should become monks and nuns. Or make some, efforts. But to me, if all of you want to, that is my teacher's problem. I think it's a happy problem for the monastery. But because it's unlikely for most people, then you have to ask yourself, what else are you doing with your life? All the text is pointing in this direction, pruning us to ask ourselves, what are we doing with our precious human life? In a way, when I look at Pokemon Go, I'm quite impressed. So far, it is the one thing, even during election time, it's only got a few days. Then only for certain party, a lot of people turn up. And after 2 hours, all go back home. And very few families go together. Oh, you see, Pokemon Go for whole family. Then you see on the Facebook or YouTube, oh, nice. One person shout, everybody, if only there's an app to medical to meditate.
There are a lot of apps you can do.
That can create meditate hotspots. So think about it. 静住，即是abide in that quietude， 即是不容软不之言。That means in this state of abiding in quietude, then the mind does not tolerate any kind of taste, any kind of impurity in the mind. It's like what I described. Just remember, dog poo in your mouth, nuisance space. I mean, the dog poo is trying to stop it from home. Use 语心相应，因此心所能够极尽满足。So, because of this, that the mind is able to be like doesn't tolerate any kind of hate. And then, however, due to the mind being in resonance with equanimity, then however, this mind and mental concomitant, full mind in other words, is able to abide in quietude, really stay there. So this ends this particular mental concomitant of equanimity. When we come back, we'll revisit it again. You can read up on the last one, harmlessness. We'll resume end of September. What is the 29? And we'll resume 29 September and then continue until 17th of November. Put our hands together. 愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿得智慧真明了，
愿得智慧真明了，
不愿罪障悉消除，
不愿罪障悉消除，
世事常行菩萨道，
世事常行菩萨道。
阿弥陀佛。Effortless. Okay. So here. The further text, the remaining text describe all these different stages. 在初位时的 at this initial stage, use 与心相应，远离调举等高下的不平稳性。So, when the mind is this 相应，
Sometimes I introduce it as resonate. Resonate. I use the word resonate. In some texts they may use the word connected, or coupled. So what does this mean? It means that when we say that the mind and equanimity xiangyu, that means the mind is in line, aligned to this state. Aligned to this state. So when it's aligned to this state, then what happens? 远离调举高下的不明本性. So when the mind is affected by worry and restlessness and all the hindrances, etc., then the mind pattern go up and down, agitated in other words, unstable. The tendency to be unstable is free from it. It is the initial stage. As a result, 令心平等, 平和, then the mind can be calm and serene. 其次有远离的家行. So beyond this, when the mind is free from these disturbances, however, 远离分别作意的偏取向, 心的平等稳, 自然相续, 不偏不齐的正直处. So that's why I mentioned from first, second, third jhana, is there equanimity? To some extent there is, but it's only at the fourth jhana then it comes, brings to fruition and perfection. So earlier part, the practice of being free from all the disturbances. And here, 其次有远离的家行. The word 家行, we translate it to heightened practice. So initially you just practice, but then after the initial stage, then whatever you do it more intensively, more intensively, more repeatedly. So if you were to meditate meditate once a week, is it heightened practice? No. So if you want from this text, even though this doesn't say that, this is a meditation manual, but from previous parts you can learn how to gauge your own practice. If you just meditate once a week, can it be considered heightened practice? No. So then when we look at other people's practice, when you hear of other people's practice and their progress, I know some of you personally who have been updating me on your practice. The good news is, now I understand why my late ordination teacher sometimes during class will share with us good news, saying that some students have reported to them their practice, to him their practice. And now I understand how my teacher feels in that way. Because some of you all share with me, now sometimes it's not sharing their own practice, sometimes it's sharing their mother's practice. My mother is now meditating every day, minimum 1 hour or 2 hours, sometimes sit non-stop until the father gets worried. So when the person put in that much effort, then quite naturally you get the corresponding results. If you don't put in heightened practice, then you cannot expect heightened results. So what is the result? 远离分别作意 the discriminating mind, the 偏取向 the tendency to discriminate and then go there, have a lot of thinking, If you can do that, then you are free of this. If you have heightened practice, you are free of this kind of discriminating mind. 心得平等人 the kind of stability from non-discrimination. More correctly, attachment to our discrimination. Attachment to our discrimination. So over here we talk about 分别, right? 分别作意. In all the traditions, there's a tendency that the moment you go into meditation practices, meditative practices, then the tendency is, not supposed to discriminate. Yeah? So during meditation, don't discriminate. Outside of meditation, also don't discriminate. Then, if the person happen to be, let's say the lay person, and then happen to be, let's say, in charge of the society, then people come and file a complaint, or let's say give a feedback. Then quite naturally, because you have been practicing the non-discrimination, right? Then when people feedback to you, hey, aircon too cold, non-discrimination. And to that person who is practicing this, they are really okay with it. But then this can become a problem. This can become a problem because then to others, the person appears to be like ignoring, oblivious of what is happening. So this is one pitfall that sometimes we must be careful. When we practice, then we think that, being a Buddhist, we must about what is happening outside. Non-discrimination. Good and bad, aircon cold or not cold, broken, not discrimination. In my lineage, we always ask the question, do you think that the Buddha cannot discriminate? Do you think that the Arahants cannot discriminate? Very interesting, because my teacher is from the Mahayana lineage, but he always talk about Arahants. And he said, Arahant, how can I forget? And the Arahants, we think the Arahants cannot discriminate, cannot tell the difference between good and bad, right and wrong, cannot tell. Of course they can tell. They can tell even clearer than us. But it says that they are not attached so strongly to it. Not attached to, especially the subtle, transient differences. Not that you cannot tell the difference. You can tell the difference. But you can tell which is transient and which is of essence, which is not of non-essence. For us, everything is important. But I don't say that we are always like that. Sometimes we are quite enlightened also. You know when? When we are sick. When we are sick, then we know what is important, what is not important. You realize that? When we are not feeling well, hard to say, some people when they are sick still have a lot of energy. For most people, when you are not feeling well, then there's a lot of wisdom. Yeah? When people quarrel with you, when you are sick, you choose your fights. We are fine. It's okay. This one, but when you're well, this one cannot. I insist. Must like this, must like that. So when you're well, we should sometimes do this exercise. Behave like a sick person. When someone asks you something nasty, you ask yourself, if I'm sick, do I have the energy to reply? No energy, okay, don't reply. When it's something nasty. So here it's not that you are sick, then it's okay. But here is through the practice of being free from all those disturbances. How is this possible? Through equanimity. Through equanimity. In some ways, there's some level of wisdom. but it's different from the equanimity of that of an arahant. Arahant's equanimity is different from the equanimity of someone in fourth jhana. Okay, still different. Huh? So the mind is free from all the this, like that. Then 自然相续，不偏不倚的正直住。So it doesn't get topsy-turvy by all the different things that whatever comes. 流性的正直 because through this of having the mind maintaining in this state. 进而得善心相续. So here, referring to this state as being a wholesome state. That this wholesome state of the mind, being tranquil, calm, and stable, can persist. 与诸杂染, so the 与诸杂染无缺这个觉思觉虑无发动性的任运而转。So with respect to all this 杂染法 translated as favorite tastes, basically all the different kinds of can be said defilements, the things that cause the mind to become impure and so on. What kind of this kind of unwholesome states or taints? 觉思觉虑, the kind of discussive thoughts, all those sublime. 无发动性的任运而转，心得无功用住. So, the mind is able to become calm and sublime and stable without much effort. This is the final part. Being able to do that without 心得无功用住. Initially we practice, put in effort, still cannot become. Later, put in effort, can become. Ultimately, is able to be free. So if you think about it, whenever we try to meditate, we have to put in effort. But then all the thoughts keep coming up. There was once, I think I mentioned in the meditation class, there's a reason why these thoughts come up. If you don't resolve the cause of these thoughts, you have to keep on applying effort. No more battery. 下课了。Time's up. Must finish. Last part. This is the new old battery. Yeah. So, when we practice our meditation, if we only try to remove the discursive thoughts, remove drowsiness, remove this as they arise, you'll find that maybe it becomes lesser, but it may still arise. Here, it is that through distancing, through equanimity, then the cause itself, when you overcome the hindrances, is the cause of all this restlessness, the agitation. You remove the cause directly. Earlier I mentioned about restraint for the other one. If you restrain yourself, then there's no more cause for all the disturbances. That is the reason why then the mind can be calm by itself. if there's still a cause for disturbances, surely the mind will become disturbed again. The reason for effortless abiding, it is that you gradually don't resonate, your mind don't connect with all those things, at least for that period of time. Okay? We don't say that you must disconnect for your whole life and the mind will come. But at least for a certain duration of time, the mind must be disconnected with worldly affairs. And that is why in the text it is described the way of a life, the way of life of a lay person is not so conducive. We don't say that it's impossible, but usually not so conducive. Why? Because you need to work. Just work alone, Why? No more time. You spend your whole, almost 2/3 of your waking hours. And for many people, the whole daylight time, isn't it? It's horrible, the modern society. Our whole daylight time, precious. That's actually the most precious part of our human life. Can you imagine? Sometimes I sit back and I'm like, our precious human life, what are we doing to ourselves? From the time we wake up until the time we sleep, there's the night time and the daytime. We take out the whole daytime for work. We do this to ourselves. And then we do this to ourselves for 30, 40 years. What do we get at the end of the day? We just to survive. Occasionally go for a trip, it's like me. And just for a roof over the head. Then in the end, get the PG card, then and then if you read the sutra about what are the things you must do to have a human rebirth, we cultivate so hard to have a human rebirth, then just forget this, and then just forget this. Not worthwhile. Really not worthwhile. Don't have to be depressed, okay? But you should consider. I don't mean that all of you should become monks and nuns, okay? Or make some, efforts. But to me, if all of you want that, then it's my teacher's problem. I think it's a happy problem for the monastery, But because it's unlikely for most people, then you have to ask yourself, what else are you doing with your life? All the text is pointing in this direction, prodding us to ask ourselves, what are we doing with our precious human life? In a way, when I look at Pokemon Go, I'm quite impressed, So far, it is the one thing, even during election time, it's only that few days. Then only for certain party, a lot of people turn up. And after the 2 hours gone, all go back home. And very few families go together. But you see Pokemon Go for whole family. Then you see on the Facebook or YouTube, the whole mess. One person shout for everybody, If only there's an app to get people to meditate.
There are a lot of apps to get people to meditate.
That can create meditate hotspots. So think about it. 静住既是abide in that quietude， 既是不容染污物之意。That means in this state of abiding in quietude, then the mind does not tolerate any kind of taints, any kind of impurity in the mind. It's like what I described. Just remember, dog poo in your mouth, nuisance face. I mean, the dog poo is trying to stop it. Use 与心相应，因此心所能够极尽安住。So, because of this, that the mind is able to be like doesn't tolerate any kind of hate. Then what happened? Due to the mind being in resonance with equanimity, Then what happened? This mind and mental concomitant, whole mind in other words, is able to abide in quiet. Really stay there. So this ends this particular mental concomitant of equanimity. When we come back, we'll revisit it again. You can read up on the last one, harmlessness. We'll resume end of September. What is the 29? We resume 29 September and then continue until November, 17th of November. Put our arms together. 愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿得智慧真明了，
愿得智慧真明了，
不愿罪障悉消除，
不愿罪障悉消除，
世世常行菩萨道。
世世常行菩萨道。
阿弥陀佛。起。诸位至诚，礼佛行三问是礼，一问是。三问是。Eventually, till we meet again, may be guided and protected by the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
乖乖做功课。